When Congress defunded public media, thousands of you stepped up, increasing your monthly gift to help us survive year one without federal funding. We made it, but that loss isn't going away. So if you haven't increased your monthly contribution yet, now's the time. And if you're not a sustaining member, join us. A monthly gift to Boise State Public Radio gives us the steady, reliable support we need for year two and beyond. Choose the support tab at boisestatepublicradio.org.
It's the Connector, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. I'm Troy Oppie. It is July 20th, a Monday. Here are today's headlines. There are hurt feelings in the United Methodist Church Northwest region after delegates elected to move their annual conference out of Idaho next year. Public bus service is set to end in Nampa this September, and Idaho ended its budget year in the black. We're going to start this morning with updates from local fire lines and what to expect in our smoke-filled skies over the next few days. Evacuations and road closures on the Ohio fire near Haley remained in place overnight. That fire was estimated to have grown to about 2,000 acres yesterday afternoon after starting Saturday around 2 p.m. As of yesterday, officials say the fire was most active in the Indian Creek drainage, but no structures have been lost. The Blaine County Sheriff's Office reports evacuation orders will be reevaluated this morning. The Sheriff's Office also says it has received a video that appears to show the origination of the fire, and they are reviewing it as part of the ongoing investigation. On the Claremont fire in the Boise foothills, containment was increased over the weekend to 84%. Progress continues despite some of the more than 400 fire personnel being redirected on Saturday to fight the Bear Run fire that started just north of Idaho City. That blaze forced an evacuation warning, but was contained by Saturday evening. Personnel on the Claremont are expected to decrease as containment increases. Some road repair in the fire area is already underway, and road and public lands closures in the fire area remain closed to the public, although the Bureau of Land Management announced it is partially lifting trail closures starting today. BLM land between the Silver Transmission Line and 8th Street, Rocky Canyon, and Boise Ridge roads will remain closed. More details can be found on the interactive trail map at ridgetorivers.org. With more than 73 major fire incidents across the U.S. as of Saturday morning, federal fire officials this weekend raised the National Fire Preparation Index to 5, its highest level. This is an indicator of the overall risk of new fires and how many resources are currently deployed across the country. More than 19,000 firefighters, according to the National Interagency Fire Center. This is the first time the U.S. has reached preparedness level 5 since October of 2024. The smoky haze blanketing southwest Idaho the last few days is primarily from multiple large fires burning in Oregon. Dozens of fires remain out of control in central and eastern Oregon, most confirmed to have been sparked by lightning in storms of the last week or two. The largest are between highways 19 and 97 in central and north central Oregon, including 2 complexes. These are groups of fires now being managed as one. The Hay Creek complex, burning mostly in Sherman County, and to the south, the Howe complex is primarily in Wheeler County. Smoke will continue to arrive in southwest Idaho, according to the National Weather Service. Today and tomorrow, though, we're more likely to be impacted by smoke from fires burning near Pendleton and Baker City in eastern Oregon. Idaho ended its fiscal year in the black after some significant turbulence early on. Here's James Dawson with more.
For fiscal year 2026, the state took in nearly $5.7 billion in taxes. That's down $154 million from last year's receipts. State lawmakers hacked off 4% from the budget to stave off a projected deficit, which largely fell on Idaho's colleges and universities. These cuts are permanent, with the legislature approving 5% budget reductions for the current fiscal year. Personal income tax collections were more than $140 million below expectations. Sales tax receipts fell slightly, but corporate income tax blasted past expectations at 65%. Despite the cuts, Governor Brad Little's office says the state is transferring $250 million to the general fund in unspent money and routine reconciliation moves. Next year's budget is also expected to be tight, with Little's budget director telling state agencies not to ask for more than they got this year. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
The Nampa City Council last week voted to cut funding for public transit in the city. That means bus service provided by Valley Regional Transit will likely end in Nampa this September. Transportation services for low-income and disabled people are expected to continue. The vote last week was part of the ongoing budget preparation process for the upcoming fiscal year. Council members had previously asked VRT to pare down its $857,000 budget request by about half. VRT did that, proposing better efficiency for on-demand rides through ride shares and the end of the express bus stop to and from Boise. But even that wasn't good enough for 4 council members, including Debbie Skog.
I believe that other entities will step up, and I don't believe that it is the city's job to make sure people have rides to where they're going.
She said VRT in Nampa was only supposed to be temporary, and it hasn't shown it serves enough riders. Skog, Sebastian Griffin, Victor Rodriguez, and Council President David Bills all voted to end VRT's funding. The vote also means Nampa will lose out on federal transportation funding dollars that require a match from the city, too. VRT, meanwhile, plans a public forum in Caldwell August 4th at the Happy Days Transit Center to share exactly how it will change services in Canyon County without funding from the city of Nampa. Caldwell police say 2 of its officers were injured early Sunday, detaining a man who appeared to be in a mental health crisis. Police in a news release say they first arrived at a residence for a wellness check and cleared the scene after verifying everyone was safe. Officers were called back a short time later after reports a man had tried to set the residence on fire and that man was armed with a knife. Officers say they feared the man was covered in accelerant as well. He was successfully detained following a foot chase and a, quote, brief altercation. 2 officers sustained injuries requiring medical treatment in that altercation, according to the department. Both are expected to recover. The operators of Cuna's Vogel Farms say they've decided to shut down their public market after bird flu forced the elimination of their chicken flock last month. In a post on the farm's social media page last week, operators say life changes played a role in their decision to shut down the market and its kitchen, too. But the family is continuing to farm, and they will still sell pigs and Thanksgiving turkeys, which are off-site and were unaffected by the bird flu in their chicken flock. A Methodist faith leader who is openly gay says they felt unsafe when they were recently in Idaho. They said they felt disrespected when their wife needed emergency care at a local hospital. When they shared that dismay during this year's Regional Methodist Conference and pointing to the Idaho legislature's anti-LGBTQ measures, they convinced a majority of their conference members to not hold their annual conference in Idaho again next year. The vote to change the venue was close. It followed this comment at the conference.
I had an experience in having to accompany my wife to a local hospital for some emergency care. I experienced some microaggressions that made me feel very anxious and unsafe. I'm just asking you to consider relocating our next annual conference to a location where more of our community will feel safe and be present and participate.
That reverend did not offer more specific details on the incident and did not identify the hospital in public statements at the conference. They have also not responded to requests for more information from Boise State Public Radio. We're not identifying them because a spokesperson for the region says the reverend and the 2 Methodist congregations in Oregon they serve have been the target of, quote, hateful rhetoric in online forums and hate mail, unquote. On our Morning Edition broadcast today and at our website, boisestatepublicradio.org, you can listen to our conversation with the head bishop of the United Methodist Northwest region that includes 145 of its churches in Idaho and Oregon. Let's wrap up with some sports notes. Athletic Club Boise got a goal in the final minute of stoppage time Saturday to break a 1-1 deadlock and steal a 2-1 win over Portland Hearts of Pine. Thomas Among had the game winner in the 100th minute. Eagle High grad Blake Bodley had AC Boise's first goal. Boise is currently in 5th place in the 17-team USL League One and hits the road for a match at New York Cosmos this coming Saturday afternoon. As the Tour de France enters its final week, Boise High grad Matteo Jorgensen appears to be on the mend after an illness and a crash last week, but his role and focus are expected to be quite different starting in today's Stage 16, because his teammate and previously second place Jonas Vingegaard crashed yesterday and withdrew from the race. That means Jorgensen has no teammate to support and might be free to chase some stage victories. He's 21 minutes off the leader currently. Jorgensen and many top cyclists yesterday were critical of a drug test for Vingegaard, which was completed at 2 a.m. local time before yesterday's stage. Jorgensen said he was furious, calling the sleep interruption for his teammate a, quote, complete lack of respect for the riders, unquote. That's according to Fox Sports. And that is our connector on this Monday. If this hot weather has you reaching for the thermostat but concerned over your power bill, you can catch Idaho Matters today at noon. Idaho Power will share some tips on how to stay cool and keep those summer electricity bills in check. That's today on Idaho Matters, and listen on demand wherever you get your podcasts later today. I'm Troy Oppie. Catch you again tomorrow for another episode of The Connector. Make it a great day.
Each story you hear on Planet Money starts with a question. What happens if we refund tariffs? Why are groceries so expensive? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious, because the forces shaping our world can be hard to see. Follow NPR's Planet Money wherever you get your podcasts and start seeing how the economy really works.